Well, we finally got on the Skyline Drive, and you can see the drive back over there. Shenandoah Valley, Shenandoah River snaking through it. It S-turns all the way through this valley.
There's a plane over there.
You got some haze in here because it's always been haze in here. Since Daniel Boone, it was haze in here. That's why they call them the Blue Ridge Mountains. We only have 102 or 3 miles to go at 35 miles an hour. All along the Skyline Drive is they have these overlooks off of the 2-lane road, and then on that side is the views. It's busy up here today, busier than normal. Well, just give you what you can see what we're seeing. And we're doing 28 miles an hour in a 35 mile zone, and I think GoPro makes it look like you're going faster. If it's mile markers on the right, they'll tell you, well, that's just a hole, but they have concrete markers every mile, so you know where you are, and they give you a map. Don't want to be in a hurry on a day like today. You basically want to spend the whole day. And we stopped at the overlooks, and this is the 4th time we passed this guy on a bicycle, and it's always bad when they're in a curve, especially if somebody comes the other way. Hardy soul, there's some really tall hills here. You change elevation, probably 1,500 feet difference between one part of the road and another. A lot of hikers, campers, people who walk the trail that's in here, and bicyclists and motorcyclists up here today. See, every time there's any kind of a fall off, they have these stone walls up here that have been up here since the Depression. Pretty thing through here is when you can get the right shade on it of the leaves. You can tell a lot of leaves have fallen. Trying to shield that sunlight off of it. My bride said we were at 2,400 feet, and you can see a rise over there higher than we are, about probably 600 to 800 feet. We still got another 1,000 feet or more to climb. Well, this is 2,400 feet above sea level, and we're looking east toward the Atlantic Ocean, which is about 160 miles away. And you can see a lot of dead trees down in this bottom, especially if you expand this on your screen all up through there. When the moth came in here that killed all these trees, it was a gypsy moth, and this whole place was just dead trees. And it's filled in some in the last 8 or 10 years. Filled in a lot up in here, but you can still see all this dead wood off in the distance. Well, just picture, 40% of that was all dead a few years ago. So it does renew. It's just one more of the overlooks, and you can see that it's going to go down through here, and see over there is where the road goes. So it's going to go down that edge and around behind this thing, so you're constantly going up and down, and they're pretty close to the tops on most of these. But when you consider all this was done with hand labor to move all this and cut through stones, it's a major undertaking. There's a lot of people up here today. $20 a car, they ought to make a couple bucks. You can see it, might be able to see an antenna on the top of that hill over there. I used to know what the name of that one was, but I don't anymore. Sort of muted color here. You can see a farm down in there with barns. Now we're leaving that overlook. Get this window up so you don't have too much noise.
Got the belt.
And you'll see where it's going downhill again. Sort of down there to a level spot. And it snakes around on the same crown, and then you can see it starts to elevate again, because we need to get to where I just showed you the cars way off in the distance, and it's all kinds of switchbacks left and right to gain the altitude. The elevation rises. That's 2,675 feet. I'll turn this off and show it when we get to the top. And here we're going up. They're going up and up and up. We're up to 2,850. And now we're at the spot that I showed you a minute ago at the last overlook. 185 feet, and the antenna we saw a little while ago is right there on top of that hill. And you can see that little knoll right there, and that is what that looks like further away. You can see the Shenandoah River. See it? We've come down the road 25 miles and see how it snakes around. They do have several campgrounds on Skyline Drive, and this is one of them up toward the Front Royal. It's about 30 miles south of Front Royal entrance. It's all wooded. We like to come through here because generally we've always seen deer in here. You can tell it's not really full. All these are empty. We see more people here at this time of year. We've probably been up here 20 times in our married life, which is like 46 years. And I came up here a few times with my parents. And I think my bride did too, because it was always the thing to do. And this is a loop back, and you have these trails coming off of it to the side, so there's tent camping back up there. But normally speaking, you come through here and you see a lot more campers, a lot more people. And you see a lot more game. I mean, we've come up in a place like this and see 3 or 4 deer. All we've seen so far is a chipmunk. And it's just a loop back around to where we came in. If you ever hear mentioned in Civil War, talking about a gap in the mountains, a gap, some of the historical writers of the 1800s, as people explored west from the coast, they had these mountains and they needed a gap to get through them, and that would be a gap. See, that's all solid over there. It's solid over there, but see how much difference it is here in elevation. But you can notice that it really rises here. But see, at the top, you're pretty much at the top of it. So if you went through here, you would just have to go down this hill, which wouldn't be too bad unless you had wagons and oxen. But you could travel by horse, mule, or walk down through these gaps. Sitting in the shadows, but that tells you we're down in a gap. You can see the gap here. And see, it's pretty high for the East Coast in Virginia. Now we're climbing up out of the gap. In fact, over there is a highway that comes through, Route 211, comes through this gap, goes across the Skyline Drive, right to the west. And everybody loves the tunnel where they couldn't go over. Around, they went through. The GoPro has good light capability. The road we just came through, and there's the tunnel, and you can see this huge gap. So you could come all the way up through here, all through that gap over there. Where that comes down and comes up as a gap, and you can go through that with almost no climbing. And here they're not all the way up to near the top. Could see you have pure stone up there, absolute pure stone, and that swings it all the way around. There's a lot of folks up here today. We're about 3,600 feet on another overlook, one of many. And you can see over there, I wish GoPro could zoom out, but that whole top over there, see where it's bare rock showing? When Camille came through here in 1969, it was so much rain, it washed all the soil off down to rock. All the trees just slid down the mountain. And now we're north of 64 in Virginia. South of 64, it was just massive places like that nothing will ever grow on again. It's about 67 degrees out here, and there's still a few people out here. I like to find a spot that my family was taking. We've got old black and white pictures taken against one of these walls. Be nice to bring your children up here and stage a recreation of a next generation at the same place. Well, it's getting late in the day. We got a couple hours before dark. Haven't seen a single deer. We usually see deer or turkey, or both. I have a little dirt inside the windshield. We didn't notice the other dirt earlier, and we had to clean that off a little bit. A little less traffic. We're about a little past 2/3 of the way. 105 miles long, I think. And this was taken just about a minute later, and look at the shadows and how much darker it is. Just winding back and forth and back and forth. A few more yellow leaf trees and more crimson. We're a little low elevation. We're at 23:45, coming up on another overlook. The deer know that's where they're supposed to cross, where they put the signs. Getting long shadows now. It's getting later in the afternoon. Well, with this hollow here, you have a bit of a breeze blowing up here. You got a lot more particulate matter, but you can see how this just falls straight off. You can see a lot of dead trees in there. See all these dead trees? Like that, half of that is dead. Now picture all those dead trees being yellow and crimson red. And that's what it used to look like. I mean, right through there, I mean, 75% of them are dead on that little ridge line. A little bit reduced visibility with particulate matter in the air. Although we got a heck of a breeze, haven't we? Well, it's 20 minutes 6 on the East Coast. We're getting down to about 20 miles from the end of this. And some of these little turnarounds just look sort of neat until the sun blinds you. That. Now we get this while the car runs by. There's two or three of them. Where they cut this thing back to put in this viewing station. Well, this is the end of 108 miles. We're going to go through here. You can see it, the sun was being muted a little bit by those clouds. And you come out on Afton Mountain, and in about 3 or 4 minutes from now, you'll be doing 70 miles an hour on the interstate. Wish I could have got that sun hiding halfway behind that cloud. One more year. Some hardy souls pushing a bicycle. And that's Interstate 64. That's our famous old Howard Johnson's that we would stop right there right now and get 2 fried clam meals. Loop around here and get on 64 and be heading home. That's all the bridge structures that are on the parkway and on the Blue Ridge Parkway, which right here to the right is Skyline Drive, to the left is Blue Ridge Parkway.